Okay, hello everyone, and thank you for joining today with College Coaching Network Social Learning Live. This is our series that we have going on during the COVID-19 pandemic. Want to make sure that we are a source to, of course, always provide help, guidance, and what we can do for the community. So today's session, we will be discussing secure the scholarship. Everyone talks about securing the bag, and we want to secure the bag for college. So we'll be securing the bag when it comes to attaining scholarships. So today we have an amazing group of panelists with us today. Thank you all for joining us. We have Mr. Bubba, who works with the esports group. We have Claude Harris, who, of course, is College Coaching Network's founder and CEO. We have Miss Ashley, who works at Park University and specializes in esports. We also have Miss Crystal, and she is. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, Miss Crystal.
Oh, I know you're fine. I'm with
trying to
Kansas
tell
City
us
Public
what
Schools.
your group.
Yeah. Say that one more time.
Tell us your the organization.
Oh yeah, I work with Kansas City Public Schools.
Yes, I thought that was right, but I wanted to make sure.
No, you're fine. Thank you.
And we have Miss Jessica, who is the founder and CEO of her organization is
Giving Hope and Help.
Give Hope and Help.
Giving Hope and Help.
Giving Hope and Help. Thank you. We also have Miss Holly is one of our amazing student panelists and scholars. Miss Harris, who is another student scholar. Also Miss Ariana Jones. And we have Miss Sierra Posey, who works with the Urban League. And then we also have Miss Rachel Harris, which is another one of our student scholars. Again, thank you everyone for joining. We appreciate your time this evening. Just want to put a quick disclaimer. The thoughts and discussions that are discussed today may not directly reflect our panelists, organizations, or employers. They are truly conversations to make sure we get the information needed to support the youth today. So with that being said, talking about support, College Coaching Network purpose is to provide guidance for students for college readiness and also career readiness. We are a company that has access to billions of dollars in scholarships and also provide the training steps that students need to get to the place of attending college. So I'm going to turn it over to our founder and CEO, Claude Harris, and he's just going to give us some of his brief background and lead us in to continue on with the conversation. Claude?
So can you hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. We got through that. That'll work. So quickly, my story, the kind of how we started College Coaching Network. Long time ago, back in 1992, I went to Hickman Mills High School. I had a 3.875 GPA. I scored only 17 on the ACT test. And my mom almost had to deplete like a lot of her 401k just to pay for me to get down to Pittsburgh State College. No disrespect to my guidance counselor, but he didn't explain to me the importance of scholarships. And so it was a lot of stress that her and my mom and I went through. And so we created the program to give more information to students so they wouldn't go through the stress, because right now we see about $1.6 trillion of student loan debts that are out there. And I don't want to have the burden of student loans on families as they get out here, kids get out here and they get ready to start families. So we want to educate the students so they can have an opportunity to have a better chance at life than I did. And then hopefully other people that are out here can understand my pain that I went through, and you guys are trying to do the same thing to help these kids kind of avoid the student loan dilemma. So I will push it over to Jessica, because we are definitely kindred spirits when it comes to trying to do something that is empowering the students to not have debts, to put them in a position where they can actually know that the community is here to support them. And you have walked by faith to do everything that you've done in the community to try to bring about change for our youth. So I'm grateful that we are on this journey together. And I just want to throw it to you so you can kind of talk about what Giving Hope and Help does. And your education is education for passport. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Education is your passport program that you have. And if I butchered that, I apologize. But I'll throw it to you. I just want you to talk about your program and kind of how you are helping students.
Absolutely. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. First, I want to just say thank you so much, Claude, for inviting me. It has been a true blessing and pleasure working with you every year. This year is our 6th annual Giving Hope and Help Education is Your Passport Scholarship Program. And due to the COVID-19, our program may not look like it always has, but we are still determined to give our scholarships. We already have applications coming in, so we will not let our scholars down. Regardless of what is happening, this too shall pass, and scholars will still continue to go to college and they will still need money. So with that being said, we have 3 different scholarships that we offer. One is our Education is Your Passport Scholarship, which includes a brand new laptop in the box. We don't do any refurbishing. We deal with brand new purchased Samsung name brand laptops. They're actually Chromebooks that we typically get, and that is what the students are asking for. So that's why we get Chromebooks. They will also get a extra long twin bed in a bag set for their dormitory, all matching sheets and everything matching, a backpack filled with toiletries and inspirational items and educational items, educational supplies. They will also receive, of course, a software app from our wonderful partner, College Coaching Network. They will also receive opportunities to volunteer with Giving Hope and Help. We want to make certain that we send these students off to college, to their college of choice, with the necessary tools that they need to go to college and to graduate. I'm so excited to say our inaugural scholars were 4 scholarship recipients in 2015, and in 2019, 3 of the 4 graduated college. So we have a 75% graduation rate thus far, and so that's pretty awesome. Our second scholarship is the MCC Giving Hope and Help Education is Your Passport Full Ride Scholarship. These full ride scholarships are to Penn Valley and Maple Woods only. They are for high school seniors, as well as the inaugural scholarship for current year high school seniors, as well as single parents that have never been to college before. And so we are trying to change the trajectory of lives and change the legacy into a legacy of education and achievement. And with this scholarship, they will receive a full ride 2-year scholarship to Penn Valley or Maple Woods. Our third scholarship will be granted to one of the 2 applicants from the other scholarships, and that is $500 cash, 2 $500 cash scholarships in my grandparents' honor. And that $500 will go directly to the student on the evening of the awards. And so those are our scholarships that we have available. Our scholarship applications, as well as guidelines, are on our website, which is givinghopeandhelp.org. That's all spelled out, givinghopeandhelp.org.
We will make sure that every link that we talk about tonight, that we put it when we actually post this video to go for our archives, that we have the links to every last one of the panelists tonight. But Giving Hope and Help is definitely where you want to go. But we want to make sure that just in case they didn't catch that, we can have the link accessible for them too. So I'm amazed at what you've accomplished. Just from your own personal story, before we get ready to go to the next question, what advice would you give to a student that just they don't know how to find scholarships, or maybe they don't understand that if you take out loans, you really have to pay this back. You can't, they're going to always be there until you pay these back. What advice would you give to a student that's not taking this serious?
Well, I would tell students, education is your passport. And with education being your passport, you need to find what creates that passport, what creates you getting your education at little to no cost. So all of the $300 and $500 scholarship, you think it may not be much, but if you add those together, you can cover a whole semester or a year with just $500 scholarships here and there. It's very important for you to go to one of my favorite spots is, of course, College Coaching Network. This is a wonderful, Claude is a wealth of information. I don't think I've ever talked to Claude where he didn't know about something. He may not know a lot about it, but he knows a little bit about everything. So College Coaching Network is a wonderful source to go to. And then I am an HBCU grad. I got my undergrad from an HBCU, Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Home of the human jukebox, baby. I have to say that every time. And then I got my master's from a PWI. I am a huge HBCU fan, lover, advocate. I believe in the HBCU mission. I believe that those colleges were built by us and for us. And those were 5 years of my life that I never experienced racism. It is a phenomenal opportunity to attend. Not saying that I'm putting down any PWI because I got my master's from a PWI. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is an awesome, awesome, awesome opportunity and experience. And you're not just a number at an HBCU. And with that being said, they have a website that I love. It has all of the HBCUs listed, all of the scholarships that are available, and it's called hbculifestyle.com. That's hbculifestyle.com. There's over 100 HBCUs in the country. All of them are listed again, and there's a wealth of information and inspiring things there. So I would always direct scholars there as well. And if they have a college of choice that's not an HBCU, go to that website and find out what college scholarships are available. There's always great scholarships. The Thurgood Marshall Scholarship. Do your research. Google scholarships. You're going to see oodles of opportunities there. These kids who are getting $1 million worth of scholarships and $2 million worth of scholarships, Google them and see what they did because it's public information. So yeah, that's where I would say I would start.
I love it. Mika, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Jessica, for that information. Next, I just want to ask and get some of our student panelists involved and engaged. So ladies, all of our student panelists are ladies today. What would you say are some of the challenges that you have faced in your search for scholarships? What challenges or successes would you share with the group out there today? Ariana, I'll call on someone since everyone's jumping to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I would say my biggest challenge with finding scholarships was not necessarily the extent of the scholarships. It would be getting out of my head that I should go ahead and apply for it even if I don't qualify, because you never know. So it's just taking the step to actually go ahead and apply for it versus being like having self-doubt and being like, oh, that's too much money, I'm not gonna get that.
Okay. Miss Holly, what has been your experience with applying for scholarships?
So basically with like what I want to go into, so with my major is musical theater with a minor in film studies. So what I had to do first is see like really what college I was going to go to, because with musical theater it's like a whole different ball game. So I had to go ahead and I filled out for like programs that I had to audition for, like in November where I'd audition for a lot of colleges, and then every weekend in January I was going to a different state to audition for colleges. So for me, what I had to do first is I had to figure out really what college I was going to, and like getting that financial aid package, while also like I wasn't kind of just like sitting around in these hotels like my mom. We'd always have me like looking up scholarships and just applying. And I would really say like what Ariana was saying, like getting out of your head, because I would be like, okay, like I'd look at the next school, I'd be like, I don't know if I'm like good enough for that. But you really have to, when it comes to this, you have to like really believe in yourself and have your own self-validation, because when you can fill all these scholarships out and everything, and you can't just like go in the game assuming the outcome. You have to go in there with the right mindset. So that's probably one of my main challenges and successes.
That is amazing advice.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna call on Rachel because I know that Rachel is a sophomore, correct? However, I know that she's already applied for and have received several colleges. So for our younger students, because some people think, oh, I'm gonna wait till my senior year of high school to start applying for scholarships. If you have the opportunity, start early. So Rachel, what has been your experience with applying for scholarships, even as being a sophomore in high school?
There's no real problem when applying for them. It's no one like teachers and stuff, they never tell us how important it is to apply for them. So that's the kind of hard part, the challenge about it. But finding the scholarships and the websites, everything, that's really easy. It's just taking the time to do it and being told that it is important, even at being a sophomore in high school.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So thank you, ladies, for that awesome feedback. I'm sure that there's something that you said that will be able to help someone out there. The next topic that we definitely want to discuss is we have Mr. Bubba on the line and then also Ashley there, and they are in the world of esports. So, Bubba, tell us, what is esports, and tell us about your organization, because a lot of people, this is kind of new language for. So tell us a little bit about what you do, who you are, and what is esports.
Yeah, thank you guys for letting us be on this panel. This is amazing. Just the dedication to engage with students is huge. I really applaud what you're doing, guys, and ladies. Just keep part of the network, and also, don't let your counselor for your freshman year give you 22 credit hours. Okay, that's my big tip for you right now. Your freshman year is important. Don't let them overbear you with too many classes. Esports. So yeah, I'm Bubba Gatter of the Varsity Esports Foundation. We're here in Kansas City, out of the River Market, and we're working from home right now. But esports is electronic sports. It's competitive video gaming. It's about a $1.5 billion industry around the world. Video gaming is, and most of that, half of that is actually mobile. So if you play Candy Crush, Claude, I'm sure you might do some Word with Friends. I'm sure you have some Word with Friends. You're a gamer. Did you know that? You're an actual gamer because you're a part of that $150 billion industry. There's about 200,000 high-paid workers in the U.S. that are employed through esports. You'll hear from Ashley here in a minute, and they work. We also work with the National Association of Collegiate Esports here in Kansas City. That's a national organization, and they're all part of about $20 million in scholarships for colleges out there. And actually, a lot of that goes unused because there's not enough students from high school in the pipeline to actually receive that, which is another topic, kind of like female crew or female rowing across the country. There's always a lack of amount of players for those scholarships. So really in esports, there's about 3,000 high school clubs around the country who play competitively at their own school and play against other schools through partners like the High School Esports League or the National Association of Scholastic Esports Federation. And there's about 3,000 colleges that have esport clubs, and it's really gaming. And usually they're always the largest club on campus. And sometimes they're the largest clubs on campus that also receive funding from universities at different levels. But in the sense of what we do as a foundation is we just help that pipeline through scholarships and grants. We do about $350,000 in grants a year through our organization, through partners like High School Esports League and eFuse, which is the LinkedIn of esports. And really anybody's a gamer. 45% of females are actually gamers. And that's a big thing. We're working with a lot of people like Facebook Gaming who really want to promote female in gaming. And we believe that toxicity with females in gaming is also a big issue. And we just like to approach that in a fundamental, proactive way against the issues in gaming, which society tells us to stay in your basement and eat Doritos and Red Bull. And we don't say that to football players, right? Even though I was one, I'm both. It's society. We just got to help understand that gaming actually has STEM related opportunities. And that's what we are. We're a STEM accredited organization to support organizations or schools, I should say, to be a pipeline for students through that lens of esports for college and career readiness.
So, Bubba, to qualify for the scholarships that you have available, is there a particular career path that a student has to take? Or if someone is interested in the world of gaming, what's some advice that you would give on the career path that they should take? Because it's not something that is facilitated a lot in high schools. Mm-hmm. So I guess a two-part question.
Sure. Yeah, great question. Though we get that a lot because a lot of people think, well, I got to do esports college and I'll be all about esports and gaming. I'm sure Ashley will tell you too that she's got students in every different degree opportunity. Most students, just like football players playing or basketball players or whatever it may be as a sport, even drama or theater for you, Holly. Theater, I mean, that could be your major, but maybe you have like another minor, obviously. But even those activity-related scholarships on the traditional sports side, all students have a degree outside of sports. Have other degrees besides maybe traditional sports that they would apply for. Business is a common degree seeking opportunity for those in Division I, Division II college opportunities. But really, we like to support students to play competitively in safe environments at their high schools, so they can actually have community. You can be male, female, black, white, be in a wheelchair, and you don't have to have separate teams for that. You can be on one team, and it's really not designed for the kids in high school who actually already have some activities to do. It's designed for those kids who don't have activities already. And what they do is, yes, they are able to have social interaction, critical thinking, team building, and be able to be a team. And then we also see through our STEM accredited curriculum that these students, their GPA is going up by 1.7 and their attendance is going up by 10%, because as you guys know, if you played traditional sports like I did in high school, you want to get good grades so you can suit up and play, or you want to have good grades so you can be on theater production or whatever it may be. So their scholarship opportunities are competitive in the high school where you can play competitively, and then we will send money to your student account at the college you're choosing to go to for whichever degree that you choose to be there for.
That's
what
awesome.
is the quick question? What is the minimum size of the teams that are at the esports high school leagues? Like how many normal students do you see on an average team?
Sure. So, I mean, 20 is kind of an average amount of people in the club. But then as you know, there's a lot of games. So let's compare it to the track team. Like the track team maybe have a team of 4 that are running relays, but let's say that's one game. Like Fortnite, you can play with 4 people in a game and play against other people that have 4 people on their team, just like a track and field relay team. Or you have, like in wrestling, you have individual matches where you play individually games. So the club size can be 20. We've got teams in the high school esports league that have 150 students in their club, and they're all playing different things. But I will also mention that they're not all the gamers. There's also students that are IT. They're doing audio video. They're doing streaming or like live casting. They're commentating, or you even it's just like traditional sports. Like in a basketball team, you have a team manager, equipment manager, a water boy, towel person. You have all those other extra activities that people can do inside that team that are part of the team.
Wow. And last question, and my oldest daughter wants to be in broadcast journalism, but as a dad, I'm just throwing the question out there. How does broadcast journalism tie into this new wave of esports? Yeah,
so let's just take the NBA 3 weeks ago. First of all, let's reference that. The NBA. Let's say you are involved in the NBA. Well, think about all the different careers in the NBA, from the janitor to the commentator. I mean, you've got people in media and marketing production. You've got people in facility management. You've got social media. You've got every type of field you can think of to put on an event at a basketball arena or even through TNT. So now just take that word NBA and switch it to esport. It's the exact same career opportunities that are available for traditional sports as well as for esports.
Wow.
Yeah, well, thank
you guys. I'll give it back to you, Mika. That was awesome. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much, Bubba. So Ashley, as we know from earlier, she works with Park University, and she is the head of their esports team. So Ashley, if you could tell us a little bit about your esports program there at Park University, and then also we would love to know what are the trends in the tech ed space, because everything is moving with technology, and esports is part of that move. And of course, when we talked about STEM, which STEAM is also a big part of that. So Ashley, if you could share with us a little bit about what you do at Park University, and then also give us more information about the tech ed space and also esports.
Sure. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here. This is a really unique opportunity for us to connect, so really happy to be here. For Park University, I do act as the head coach for the esports program, but I wear multiple hats throughout the program. I am the only dedicated staff member at Park University that's in charge of the esports program. So not only am I running the teams and managing the players, but I'm also making sure that we are streaming, making sure that our social media has consistent content being posted. So kind of one-stop shop for esports. We started competing in the spring of 2019. I had one League of Legends team, and we had about 7 players on that team. The following fall, I had 4 teams, and we got up to like 22 players. So we drastically took off from one semester to the next. I'll probably likely have around 30 players for the next academic year. At this point in time, we do have scholarship opportunities for all of the players that are a part of the team. Whether you're playing on the varsity team or the developmental team, there's still scholarship opportunities there. And right now we're competing in Overwatch, League of Legends, and Rocket League. So probably this upcoming year, I'll have at least 2 League of Legends teams, 2 Rocket League teams, and then 1 Overwatch team. And then as far as kind of like what Bubba was talking about earlier, and you were referencing kind of the tech opportunities, I would say with the current student population, the current student athletes that I have, I would say maybe a little over half are all computer science majors. But then I get a lot of other majors as well. I had a nursing major. I've had 2 psychology majors. I've had international business. So while I would say probably about half are kind of concentrated in the computer sciences, the other half are kind of spread out all over campus. And what I would like to do in my esports program is I think it's really important to push content for the players. We are unlike a basketball team where, oh, there's a basketball game, we're going to go to the physical space to watch it. That is kind of lost right now in the collegiate space. So a lot of folks are pushing for streaming on Twitch or Mixer. So one of the things that I like to do is make sure that every single game, every single competition that we have is streamed and available for anybody to go and watch and participate. So one of the things that I like to do, since that is a lot of games, in the spring semester alone, before we were cut short because of COVID-19, I had already 30 games played across all of my teams within the matter of a month or so. Wow. So it's a lot of content, and I have all of my players. If my Rocket League team is playing, I'll have a League of Legends player broadcasting and shoutcasting the Rocket League team. So I try to expose my athletes to multiple aspects within esports. So not only do they get the ability to play and compete, but they do help run the social media. They do help and learn about broadcasting and shoutcasting. So there's a lot of different opportunities just kind of within the collegiate space that I know a lot of programs like to expose their student athletes to. And for me, that's also just more things that they can put in their tool belt and put on their resume for once they graduate college. You can say that you were on a varsity team, you have broadcasting experience, you've done social media. So there's a lot of benefits. And then they may turn out to love it. So it's also something that can kind of cultivate a new passion for them.
So I played college sports. I played basketball down in Pittsburgh State a long time ago. And from what I saw, like if you're a Division I athlete, a lot of times you'll get a full ride. If you're a pretty good Division II athlete, you can, but a lot of times we see Division II, Division III, they do more partials. So you'll kind of get like half from the athletic side and then the other half maybe from academic side. How are you guys awarding scholarships in regards to that piece? And then how does a student get recruited Because this is different. Like as a basketball player, you know, we would play in these national tournaments, or if you make it to the state championship, you know, hopefully people will come talk to you from there. But how do you get visibility?
Yeah, good questions. So first I'll kind of speak on the scholarship piece. So for Park University right now, everybody is eligible for a scholarship opportunity. Kind of like you said, we're Park with their traditional athletics is an NAIA school. So right now we're probably, I think for next academic year, our average scholarship may be anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 for the academic year. So again, not a full ride. You know, a lot of schools are doing the kind of partial ride from the athletic department itself at this point in time. And then as far as recruiting goes, one of the tools that I have used, there's two different websites. It's Be Recruited, and New College Student Athlete, I believe is the other one, NCSA or NSCA, one of those two. They also have a traditional athletics side, so that is also a website that many traditional athletics uses as well, but they do have an esports component as well, so students are able to go in there. They can create a profile. You can select your game. Say you play Rocket League, you can list down your username. You can list the current rank that you have within the game. So that's kind of one way to get recognized with different colleges. And I think another way as well is just going out to kind of your local gaming scene. Here in Kansas City, we're really fortunate to have an event called KC Game On. It's an event that happens every other month, and they actually have it on our campus. So it's a great opportunity. We have 300 folks that show up to this event, and we all shove them into the underground, and they're all in different classrooms, and they're all just playing games. And you know, that's a huge target, you know, for me personally as a recruiting tool, because they're getting them on campus. That's half the battle. Once they get on campus, all I have to do is go up and talk to them. So I think kind of utilizing the website, creating a profile, and then just kind of being involved. If you are interested in staying locally into your area and going to college somewhere close to home, kind of see what's out there in your local area, and also just research some of the local schools and see if they do have programs. I think probably at this point in time, and Bubba can help me with this, but I think at this point in time, there's probably around maybe 300 colleges, maybe between 3 and 4 that have varsity programs. So that's not too many in the scheme of having thousands of universities across. So
Right.
if you search for us, you know, it's a short list, I might say. So then you just got to make sure that university also aligns with your academic goals as well.
Very nice.
That is really awesome. That's a space that I didn't even realize exists to that depth. So that is very intriguing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to ask a quick question to just I want to ask a quick question to the students just to make sure. When I talk to a lot of students just about finding scholarships and going to college and stuff like that, some of the students don't want to write essays. Some of them are not interested at all in doing any research on scholarships. They just expect mama and daddy to pay for it, right? Or they'll procrastinate and say, man, I get to that later. And I was the same way. There was this big old thick booklet when I was in high school, and they gave it to me from the library, and I'm like, I am not looking through that crap. I wasn't doing it. But I just want to ask you guys, like, what are the challenges that you guys are seeing that's causing a lot of the students, even though you guys know you need to secure the scholarship, what's causing you guys not to go from knowing you need to do it, but then sometimes you guys don't do it? So, I mean, what's the problem that you guys see with the students?
Well, for me, what I was going through was I had applied to 21 schools initially. And so doing all of those essays and like basically fighting for why I wanted to like go to a certain school, I did all of those and I was like, cool, great, I'm done. But then like my mom would be like, no, you're not, you know, and she was like showing me all these scholarships that I could, and she still like, you know, she would still send them to me, and I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I feel like I literally just like spewed my life on paper of why I should go here, and I'm still fighting to say why I need to go to a certain school or whatever. But then once I got like those financial aid packages for my top like 5 schools, and I was like, okay, so I should probably go ahead and do some scholarships, because somebody once told me, I forgot, I can't remember who, but like how to like fight through scholarships. They're giving you free money, so you might as well just suck it up and just like push through. So I think that was one of the hardest things for me, because you know, you already, as like a senior, you'd already like written all these essays, and you've already, you know, like proven yourself, and you're like, okay, I don't know why I have to do this again. But you have to know at the end of the day that these scholarships are literally just wanting to help you, and they're giving you money essentially to help you in your college career. So yeah.
That's good. Real quick, I don't want to lose this question. There was a thank you for that. There was a question that came about for Ashley about students that have an autism and how you guys work with them in regards to scholarships. So could you speak to that as well?
Yeah, sure. At this point in time, I don't have anybody currently on any of my rosters that do. Bubba actually posted a great link, autismgaming.com. I think that's a great resource to go ahead and take a look at. And also, like Bubba touched on earlier, esports is a really unique opportunity. You know, I have, I mean, the majority of my roster is male, but I also have a couple of females on the team. I've had some students that have had some physical disabilities that wouldn't be able to participate in a traditional sport, but having the ability to be on an esports team, they're able to kind of cultivate those same skills that you see in traditional athletics. So esports is kind of a great location, and it's a great spot to get some diversity and some inclusivity kind of in your varsity athletics.
And I'll just throw out there. I'll try to find a video. There's an actual high school team that has some players with on the spectrum of autism, and it's the engagement and the cooperation between that team is just really emotionally uplifting, because it's not like you're the girl gamer or you're the wheelchair gamer or you're the autistic gamer. You are the gamer, and that's what's really inclusive about it.
I want to throw a really quick kudo out to Holly. I work with a lot of different students, but I have not in my life seen someone that is as driven as you are. Not seriously, you are the real deal. I won't say you're a scorer, but her ACT is.
You can say it. I got a 21, and like wait, can I speak a little bit about that too? Because I want to.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so with me, when I was focusing on, I had first taken the ACT, and my first score that I ever got was a 16, and that like really beat me up, because I was like, okay, so does this like mean that I'm dumb? Does this mean like I'm stupid? And my mom was trying to like put through my head that that's not what that means, and this is all again for scholarship and how they kind of accept you, because some of these schools, that's mainly how they accept you. So I had actually gone through my first tutor for ACT, because I was like, okay, I gotta learn what I need to do to get this score up. So basically I went through that, and then my first tutor, I think my score probably went up like 1. And for me, what it was is I was always getting perfect scores on English, but math, I'm not the biggest math person, and so I kind of had to program my mind on like how to do a certain section, because like going into the ACT, I thought, okay, I'm just going to put everything that I've already learned and I'm just going to put it on this test. But I didn't actually know that there's a certain way that you have to take the test and a certain way that you have to strategize it. And every year I've talked to my college friends now, they say that it just gets harder. So then after my first tutor, I went to my second tutor for math. And then my score actually ended up going up to a 21, which still isn't the highest. But I decided that I wanted to write in my college essays that I'm not just a test score, and there's other things a part of me that I can bring to the table, and I'm not, just like grades and everything. And a lot of colleges appreciated that, because that's why some of these colleges, after taking the ACT, some of them like, okay, we're not going to do the ACT anymore. We're not going to put that in our program, because it's cutting out really good kids, because not everybody is programmed to write the pen and pencil, just, or you know what I mean, like on the test. We can't all do that. So I felt like that was one of the really most important things without this college process, because it can get hard, and it can make you, like, it was making me question like my like worth. I was like, am I am I gonna let this score? Am I gonna let this 21 define me? Like, I'm not a 21. I'm more than that. And I think it's really important to let your colleges know that when you apply.
I love it, and that's the alley-oop that we're throwing right over to Tiara. So that is your world. So I'm gonna throw. She's with definitely an ACT. She knows how to game it. So I'm gonna throw it to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Holly. You made a terrific point. So there are a lot of colleges out there who are looking at the student as a whole. So they're taking a more holistic approach to students, which I think is an amazing idea. So just like you, my first ACT, I got a 16. The highest score I got was a 21 as well. So we're right there together.
Right.
But as we know, ACT, that's where the money is. That's where the scholarships come from, and we do want to prepare our students accurately enough for the ACT, so they can get those scores, and so that they can get those scholarships. So there is no college debt, right? Because like Claude alluded to earlier, if we would have just applied for those scholarships, we wouldn't have. You have to pay those back. I don't know why that doesn't click in students' minds, but like every time I get paid, Sally Mae gets a check. Like that's how that works. But and had I applied for more scholarships, that debt would be lesser. If you all live in Kansas City, scholarships like KC Scholar, that's a $50,000 scholarship. That is all of my college debt and then some. So just make sure, like seriously, make sure that you apply for those. So speaking of the ACT, so the national average for the ACT score is a 21, and that also varies state by state. So your score in your state may be higher, or it may be a little bit lower than the national average. But again, like Holly had spoke of, she looked at the schools that she was applying to. So you want to be mindful and intentional when you are looking at your schools to make sure that you meet those requirements. And if you're looking early, like Miss Rachel, I think it was Rachel, who has gotten those scholarships already, you know what school you want to go to. So now you have something to aim for. And a couple of points could be a couple of $1,000. So getting a 25, having a 25 the first time and then going to a 28, that could get you an extra $2,000 or $4,000 per semester. And you multiply that over 4 years, that's $8,000 or $16,000. So you want to make sure that you take the ACT seriously. And a lot of it is strategy on how to actually take the test. So the content, most students are very versed in the content, but the test is intimidating. It's a 4-hour test. It is you can't pay me to sit for a 4-hour test right now. So just imagine being a high schooler and, sitting down for that test, and just knowing that the weight that it has, it could be really intimidating. And I'm also, I think Claude and I talked about this a little bit yesterday, it just made you think that you weren't a good test taker and maybe you didn't know the content. It's not that you're not a good test taker, you just don't have the strategies to take the test yet. So like one of the things that we do at the Urban League is we do have ACT prep classes. We hold them 4 times a year, And they're 4 Saturdays, about 6 hours each Saturday leading up to a test. And we have our academic coaches who teach our students the strategies of taking the test. And we also go over content as well. But we want to make sure that our students are in, it comes along with, again, some college and academic coaching too. But we want to make sure our students are prepared and they secure the scholarship. They get this scholarship bag. Like that's that's what we want. We want for our students. Yeah, that's it. I love the connection that we have with college, the College Coaching Network. It's an amazing thing. Find scholarships outside of the local scholarships and things like that. And don't forget, like I said, to look at your specific schools and call your school and see, what their financial aid packages look like. What do you need to do? Make them know you before you get there.
And one of the problems, and I'll shut up. One of the problems real quick that I saw with one of my students is, we were talking about this, Mika, yesterday when I was talking to the mom on a 3-way call. Her son is phenomenal. I won't say the high school he goes to, but it's a pretty prominent high school in Kansas City. And he wrote his essay. His introduction was spot on. His body was pretty solid, but his conclusion was a completely different thought. And a lot of times when you see kids going after, you want to get the ACT up to get more money from the endowment, but then you're writing essays, right? Right. And a lot of times people don't understand the proper structure of how to write an essay. And Rachel hasn't got any scholarship money yet, so I don't want to put something out there that's not true. I had her start writing essays for scholarships in the 8th grade. Smart. the 8th grade, right? There was other things I had her doing too. But no, we started with her early on that. So yes, she is National Honor Society. She's killing it and all that. So we know she's going to get scholarships. But the mindset I was trying to condition all my kids on starting out early, and me and a dad, they don't want to hear this mess, coming from from a dad, right? You know how it is, right? Yeah. But the thing that I want to kind of key it up for Crystal is, can you kind of walk them through the proper way to write? Because for them, I had them write like 4 or 5 essays. And then after you write those essays, you don't have to keep rewriting essays. You can kind of tweak those essays. Don't tell anybody I told you this, but you can tweak these essays, right? So Crystal, kind of talk to them about just the structure and essay writing.
Yeah, and anybody else feel free to chime in from your experience. I know Jessica with her scholarship, has read plenty of them. And just recent, and I'm a reviewer for Casey Scholar, so I'm glad that Tiara mentioned that. And it's just, there's sometimes a very distinct difference. You can tell students who actually have followed some sort of format when they written an essay. You can tell the students who actually had somebody else read their essay. They, sometimes it felt like maybe they typed it on their phone and then decided, oh, I should apply for this scholarship today. You can just really tell the thoughtfulness. But one of the things that, from my experience, is like you really want to tell a story. And I know sometimes when we think of writing essays, if you don't feel like you have this quote unquote sob story about life, then you feel like you don't have anything to write about. But just thinking of how we're all adapting right now, and I'm thinking of the current sophomores and juniors and even the freshmen, those essays next year will be very interesting when we think about how they're adapting to changes in school and those kind of things, and maybe even for our current seniors who are adapting. And it's like, what does it feel like to possibly not have graduation like you thought you would, or not be able to have those last few months with your friends? But it's really about telling a story and being authentic. So not just feeling like, okay, well, if I don't have this rough childhood that I need to talk about, but wait, who are you? And of course, we're ever evolving, and especially as high school students, but it's really about telling a story, not my name is Crystal Everett, blah, blah, blah. But I think one of the best essays that I just read recently, it was a student talking about their love for art, and maybe it's more specifically theater, but it was using theater phrases. It's like, okay, I'm intrigued. I want to learn more about this student and who they are and what they'll bring to the table. But definitely to your point, Clyde, you really don't have to write a new essay every time. It's really just thinking about what are those stories, what are those words of wisdom that you live by? But the most important thing is to actually follow what the essay prompt is. That as a reviewer for Casey Scholars and even, other scholarships that I've, had a chance to read for, you can just attention to detail is lost on, I think, a lot of students sometimes. And that if you didn't even answer the question, you didn't follow those specific guidelines. It said 250 to 500 words. Why do you have 100 or why do you have 700? And so even if you feel like, oh, I'm going above and beyond by having more, it's sometimes people are looking for those easy ways to weed students out by literally not following the directions. So um, kudos to you. I know your daughters probably aren't super excited about having to write essays in 8th grade, and feel like, that's, I got plenty of time. But, when Tiara was talking, I was thinking about what she said, and we've had a chance to connect here recently. It's kind of like you pay for it now when you think of the time and energy. And maybe it's more highly in Tiara, but it's kind of like you pay for it now with your time when you're writing the essays and researching, or you pay for it later. Yeah, just there's a couple student loan lenders that I'm dealing with now, and so I know I definitely did apply for scholarships. And even if I look back on the college choice, I really enjoyed my experience at Drake University, but did I have to go to a private college? Not necessarily. And even I just want to mention, I know the A+ scholarship has relaxed some of their standards, at least for this year, in light of the changes to what we're identifying as like online learning for students. And so A+, while it may seem like, oh, well, I wouldn't use that, I don't want to go to a community college, but you'd rather have that money, in your bag, you secured a scholarship. And if you don't use it, cool, but it's there. And I think Tiara, when we talked, she said that she had a chance to use it.
Yeah.
And go to...
I was gonna chime into that. So I went to Longview for my first 2 years. So while I do have student loan debt, it is not a significant amount compared to my peers, because I did use that A+ money, and I'm a big encourager for community college, not because I went there, but because as an 18-year-old, I didn't know what I wanted to. I was 17. As a 17-year-old, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and so it made more sense to go to a 2-year college and pay 2-year prices than to go to a 4-year college and pay those 4-year prices for those classes. And then you get to dabble in a couple different things before you make your decision. But yes, definitely utilize A+ if you're
And that one, I don't even think you have to write an essay. You just, it's like that consistency.
You have to do community service, like some volunteer community service hours, which you should be doing anyway, because colleges are looking at you as a whole student. So yeah.
So Crystal, with your expertise on essays, because I'm sure you've read more than we probably even want to to look at, what would you say would be the key of a student learning the art of storytelling? Because essentially that's what I'm hearing, is being able to tell a story on paper in a way that it intrigues the reader to want to learn more about what you're speaking about. So what would be your professional opinion on the greatest tip to tell a student how to effectively write a story in their essay?
That's a good question. And maybe my thoughts are a little jaded because I'm just really interested in stories. Like I watch documentaries all the time, and it's like, okay, that was so compelling. And so that's probably one piece of advice, is thinking about what are those stories that intrigue you, whether it be from the news, whether it be from, and maybe social media, the stories come in like small blurbs, but it's just kind of thinking about what compels you to continue to read or want to learn more, and really think about how you channel that. But probably more than anything, being able to talk to somebody else, because a lot of times our thoughts in our head don't always make sense, and you're trying to articulate it to somebody else. But we're just really utilizing the power of mentors, teachers, counselors, college coaching network, obviously, and all these people here. I'm sure I'll volunteer myself. If you want someone to review an essay, just to literally make sure it makes sense, when somebody reads it. Even as a person who liked to write and enjoyed English, I would have my mom or other people just read it for clarity. So again, just to kind of summarize, really thinking about what feels compelling to you as a reader, but then also being able to utilize other people and just to make sure your thoughts are clear, they make sense. Just thinking about the essay that Claude just mentioned, part of it was good, but then when you got to the end, maybe less than desirable. So how do you keep that consistency throughout an essay? Just utilizing those networks. You certainly don't have to do it alone.
Okay,
I know when I'm sorry about that. I know when I did a lot of public speaking, they gave me a 3-part way of how you speak, and you tell them what you're going to tell them, tell them, and then tell them what you told them, right? And so essays should all have that same kind of storyboard, great intro, body of what you're telling them, and then just a recap. So I think if you follow the simplicity of that, I'm done. There's one other thing and I'm done. I talked to the CEO of a great scholarship organization today. I won't say it because he's really, really private. And I was very, very fortunate to talk to him today for about an hour. That was pretty cool. But he told me about people that want to go to community colleges, and I didn't know that they actually had boarding community colleges. I thought most of the time when you went to a community college, you had to stay home. But I found out that if you Google boarding community colleges, you can find community colleges where you may not be ready to make that leap fully into a 4-year university, but you can still get away from your mom and your daddy. So it's a great way to grow up and still get away from your parents, but still maybe kind of get, and then it can reduce the overall cost too by maybe going that route and then going to the 4-year school from there. So I just want to throw that out, but I am done talking, Mika. I'll give it back to you.
So I know that we're approaching 8 o'clock. Definitely wanted to get our student panelists engaged again. I know Miss Holly is still making her choice of the college that she wants to attend because she applied for all these awesome schools, and she gets to make the decision now. But I know Ariana recently got accepted into her #1 school of choice. So Ariana, if you don't mind sharing with us what that process looked like. I know you had to write a lot of scholarships and be able to convey your story. So what do you think that it took for you to stand out to get into, although it's a public school, you can tell us what school it is, it's a public university. What do you feel made you stand out to be able to be accepted into that university?
So the university I got accepted into was Louisiana State University. And as she said, that was my first choice. I think what helped me stand out on my application was how well-rounded I was, like how involved I was in school, how involved I was with my community. So I feel like that was the main thing. Honestly, my test scores, like my SAT, ACT scores, were like, they met the requirements, but they were at the lower end of the requirements. So I honestly felt like them seeing how involved I was in everything really helped them make the decision to accept me into their school and to know that I would be a great asset to their university.
Okay, so with the scholarship aspect, I know that you also won some other scholarships. What do you think has been your key focus in applying for scholarships? And also, I know you are a student athletic trainer, and you recently won a scholarship for that. So what do you think, what about your speech do you feel as though gave you the honor of winning that scholarship out of several thousand students here in the greater Houston, Texas area?
I feel like what separated me in my speech from everyone else was just speaking about my personal experience with searching for colleges. I mentioned how when I first searched for colleges and I was on the look for them, I noticed that there was a lack of HBCUs and historically black colleges that offered athletic training program and had athletic training accreditations. So in my speech, I talked about that. I talked about how after I obtained my degree and my master's degree, my plan is to go back and bring more diversity and start my own programs at HBCUs. So I feel like that part was, what helped them make the selection.
Okay, thank you.
Amazing.
Miss Holly, can you tell us what has led you from going to applying from, it was over 20 schools, to narrowing it down to the 5? And I know you're going to have a big reveal party. Hopefully, won't have to have it virtually, but if you do, that'll be amazing too.
Yeah.
So tell us about that process.
Okay, so basically, like I said, with musical theater, it was a whole like different ball game. So a lot of my friends already knew where they were going to school, like November, December, and then like January came. They're like, "Do you know where you're going?" And I was like, "Not yet," because usually for us, it's not till like end of March/April. So for me, like I said, it was like auditioning, and then like it was getting ready for all the auditions and seeing these professors and like face to face. So one of my biggest advice for anybody that's younger is start as early as possible. So I would start with the ACT as early as possible, so you can really, get that training that you need, and then like start with like how you're writing essays. You're already gonna know like what the structure is and what you kind of want to talk about, because that was one of my main struggles. Is I don't know, it's like I didn't really know what story I wanted to choose, and I saw all these people that would write essays about how like their sad life and everything, and I was like, well, I didn't really have one of those, so I decided to write what I was passionate about, which was art, and kind of like my life story and how I fell in love with art and the performing arts and film studies. And so that was one of my most important things, was basically to show how much of a well-rounded person I was. So I'm in a National Honor Society, so I had to do a lot of community service and just kind of helping my community too. And so then it kind of, for me, the whole entire journey, it was, it had me questioning like me, and then I'd be like, what do I want to do? Like, do I actually want to do this? And that was one of the most important lessons that I learned throughout this whole entire process, is that when things start getting hard, the worst thing you can do is start questioning and start doubting yourself. So I kind of had to get out of that mindset and start pushing. And so then, I started getting those declines, and that's when I was like, okay, but then you're gonna get like 500 no's until you get a yes, and in the end you're all going to end up where you're supposed to be. So like at the end of this whole entire journey, I kind of like really realized where I wanted to go. So I'll be going to Pepperdine University in Malibu, California, for a major in theater and a minor in film studies. So I'm really excited about that. But the journey, when it first started, I told my mom, I said, I'm so excited. I know it's going to be hard to put in the work and push through, but I'm so excited to see where it's going to end you up. And at the end, it is worth it, and you will all end up where you're supposed to be. So yeah.
That is awesome. Thank you, Holly, and thank you for sharing your great reveal with us today.
No problem.
So just want to thank all of our amazing panelists for coming out and spending part of your evening with us today. Those of our viewers that are out there, thank you for joining. And thank you for watching this live streaming about securing the scholarship. I'm just going to turn it over to Claude to give a little closeout information. And again, thank you all for all that you do. Students, you guys are phenomenal. I think the consensus of the ladies here was really all about being yourself and going for what you want to achieve and pursuing it diligently, and also staying focused. But I want to again thank everyone. We learned about esports. It's a whole nother world. I'm going to talk to my son about it, because I'm sure that's a world that he loves. So if we can get some, great money for college for it, I'm all for it.
Yes.
Ms. Jessica, we've shared your link about your scholarships. Miss Tiara, right quick, I know that with things rescheduling, when will be the next ACT test prep that some students can connect with Urban League?
All right, I was muted. Sure. So for the students who were taking the ACT in April, they have moved that test date to June. So all of the students who are registered in April, you should be following the ACT, the National ACT website, and they will give you instructions on how to register. They say for free, but they're just transferring your money over from April to June. So how to register for that June test. We typically start our ACT prep. It'll be next school year for that October test. So we'll start at the end of September, leading up that 4 weeks before that first test. So we'll be putting those dates out relatively soon. As soon as the National ACT lets us know their deadlines, because they haven't posted those yet, then we'll get our dates rolling. But we are available at any time at the Urban League. Right now, we're doing everything virtually. I am in the midst of setting up some virtual academic coaching and tutoring just on content, so math, science, reading, language arts, and that's available to the public for free. We're going to try to get that started up in April, so especially for our kids who aren't in school. We want to make sure that we don't extend that summer learning loss that we get from May to August and now from March to August. So we will have that. So if anybody has any questions, I'll put my information over here, or you could visit us at www.ulkc.org.
Thank you, Ms. Tierra.
No problem. Thanks, Nika.
Thank you. Claude?
Yeah, in closing, next week, we're going to have another panelist group. A lot of kids have taken career assessment tests and they don't like taking those tests. They feel like they're just too long and all that. So we're going to actually bring career professionals to you where you can ask questions to engineers, and we're going to have people that are doctors and possibly a couple of attorney friends of mine that you can ask them what they do in their job every day. And you can kind of figure out if that's something that you want to pursue as far as a college major. So if you guys feel that what we're doing is helping you or helping somebody else or could help somebody else, please become an ambassador for College Coaching Network. We're going to put a link out there where you can actually become an ambassador and just spread the word on what we're trying to do to help impact people through our virtual platform and also just through some of the things we do through our automation. So appreciate all of you. Have an amazing day. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Please wash your hands. Y'all take care.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening.
You too.